Okay, hi everyone. Tina here again with Lynda Austin. So if you didn't get a chance to watch our part one discussions with Essence, that is posted on my YouTube channel. I will put a link wherever you're seeing this. I'll include a link to that. But yeah, so here we're gonna get into part two. We're gonna dive a little bit deeper with some deeper questions. And yeah, hi Linda.
Hi, Tina.
Hi. Okay. So, how are you?
I am really glad because it's warming up outside and the sun is shining and I'm in a much better mood.
Good, good. Yeah, it's been cold.
Been cold.
Hmm.
And you, how are you doing?
I'm pretty good. I'm pretty good. Definitely, I've been feeling a lot of um, um, swirling of energies the last couple of days. Today is February 20th, just for reference. Um, but feeling very, very good today. It's a beautiful winter day. It's an interesting start to the year.
Well, I have my sense of it has been that um, it's a lot better than last year, and it's going to keep on getting better instead of getting awful. And that's my right brain. My left brain is saying, oh my God, it gets worse every day, you know?
Yeah.
So I'm
Yeah.
trying to, but I keep remembering Essence saying that this is not a time to judge what's going on because you don't have you can't see it all, you
Right.
know? And it's like having a math problem that you don't have all the parts to, so you can't solve it.
Right.
But that our job now is not to decide who's right and who's wrong, um, what needs to be done, what needs to be cleaned up, what needs to be encouraged. Our job right now is to look beyond the turmoil and to see what we want. We need to ask for what we want, and we need to realize that we are co-creating our reality. We are literally working with spirit, with the one, whatever name you want to give to it. We're being asked to be a part of it. They're insisting that we be a part of it. We have to create a vision of what it is we want. The universe can create it, but we have to ask for it. That's our job
Hmm.
because we've got free will and we can choose to try and do this ourselves, or we can create the vision of what we want and allow ourselves to open to the possibility or the reality of allowing it to happen rather than making it happen.
Hmm.
See what I mean?
Yeah, I do. I do. Because I recognize for myself, because um, sometimes my mind will want to just really solely focus on what I perceive as the problem. And then that's where my wheels spin, and I spin and spin because I just get stuck there. And there's lots of drama, and it's, like there's a lot of, there's a lot of um, things to feed, right? In my mind, where I just like, which I know don't serve me. And then shifting into this place of just focusing on toward what it is that I prefer and aligning myself with that as best as I can and trusting in the process. It feels like that is, as best as I can sum it up, that's the work. And there's a part of me that doesn't totally trust that, because there's that part of me that wants to go back into the nitty gritty and make it.
We have to fix it. We have to fix it. Yeah, that's
Yeah, yeah.
um, it's it's so hard to remember when you're in the middle of this, that what our goal is to create a better world.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we're looking at political parties, and we're looking at, you know, governors and mayors and officials who are, and that's not what is real. What really needs to be, we need to choose what we want to be the end result, and then allow the universe to make it happen.
Mm-hmm. And I
The
think,
answer to how is yes.
yeah,
How do we want this to work out? Yes, we want this to work out, and we want the world we live in to look like this, not what we've got. And we don't have to figure out how to make that happen. We just have to ask for it, and open ourselves up to the possibility that we don't have to do it all.
yeah, yeah. I think when, you know, when we talk about not repeating our past, I feel like that's what we're talking about. It's not the action, it's the choice. It's the choice in perception, and the choice in belief, and the choice in, and then therefore the choice in action coming from that place.
Well, it's the
So,
intention. It's our intention to punish all these people that have done terrible things, or is our intention to live in a world, you know, that's different than this?
mhm,
It's what are you trying to create? What do you want to do? It's not
yeah,
about uh, you know, figuring out whose fault it is. Doesn't
right,
matter whose fault it is.
right,
What do you want to be different?
right. Because
Not
all of
how
that
do you
will
want to
take
make
care
it
of itself.
different, but what do you want to be different?
Yeah.
And
All
focus
that
on,
other stuff will take care of itself.
yeah, put your
It
energy
just
into
will.
that.
Yeah. It's not, it's certainly not my job to focus on the punishment, because I'm in no actual position to do anything about that. Um, and what I mean by that is there are people who are positioned in this reality who are in positions to take action in that. And that's something that I've been really looking at this past year, because my nature, I've got this kind of warrior, you know, spirit that wants to stand up for everybody. And I want to, you know, and realizing how every time I've protested or anything like that, it's never yielded me the results that I was looking for, ever. Not to say that there's anything wrong with that. People are going to do what they're going to do. But for me, that just never got me where I wanted to go with it. Um, and then also realizing, again, I'm spinning my wheels if I think that me um, holding on to these heavy, dense energies in my feelings around these things is going to change what's happening. It's not going to. But if I allow
That's just
myself to
going to
just
keep you
accept
stuck
that it's
there.
there. Pardon me?
That's just going to keep you stuck there.
Yeah, yeah. And so letting go of that, and then just allowing myself to focus here and live my life as like my highest life every day, meaning just allowing myself to feel good and to be tuned in to my higher knowing. And I've been having very profound experiences of just watching things happen. And I always get this vision of a matador, you know, holding the cape for the bull, the charging bull. And I just let it go. Just let it pass on through, because I don't need to I don't need to try and stop it. That's not my work.
Yeah.
My work is to raise my vibration. And then watching all these things that could happen, that, you know, and just watching them kind of pass on through. So this is what I would like to talk with Essence about too, is on the quantum level of things. Like, what is this? What are we talking about here in the quantum function of different realities and how we're all experiencing this reality from different perspectives. And yeah,
Okay.
yeah, there's, yeah, I'll get into it with, with them.
Okay.
Okay.
You ready?
I am ready.
Okay. I am the light. The light is surrounding me. The light is transforming me. The light is protecting me. Divine love is flowing around and through me, solving and dissolving all situations for the good of all. A higher power is in charge of my life, and only good can come through me. My mind is open, my heart is receptive, and miracles are happening right now. I consciously choose to raise my vibration to a place of truth and light. Yes, well, Tina, we always love it when she gets to the part at the end there where she talks about a place of truth and light, because that is what you are all looking for. It would be easy to say that you could simply focus on, I want to be living in a place of truth and light, and that would make me happy, you know. Uh, there's it's a little bit harder now to find truth and light in your world than it was a while back. But you need to remember there is nothing stronger than the truth and nothing purer than light. So if that's what you're asking for, truth and light, you'll come out on top. You are, the phrase used in your Bibles is children of God. You are not just children of God, you are God. You are parts of God. The whole is, you are a part of it. You are made from truth and light. It's just difficult for you to understand that in this soup that you live in. You know, it's as though you live in a constant fog. You can't really see the beauty and the light and the truth all the time. But that doesn't mean you can't want it and you can't look for it. And you can't see that as your goal, to walk in truth and light throughout your life. That's where happiness is. That's where peace is. That's where fulfillment is. Darkness and lying aren't fun. And so we would ask you, when you are feeling really, really awful, ask yourself, where am I not standing in my truth? Where am I not looking at the light? Light is always stronger. Truth is always stronger. And nothing can really hurt you. You are here to be a physical manifestation of love, a physical manifestation of God here. Never forget that you are one with God, that you are a part of God, that you have the backing of the entire universe to do your bidding. When you are aligned with your truth and standing in the light, anything is possible. So, questions?
Thank you for that. Okay, first question. So it feels like in this time and in this energy, a lot of us are experiencing what I would call just having an experience of feeling like you're in a different reality with somebody when you're having a conversation.
Mm-hmm.
So what I'm curious about is, from your perspective, what is taking place when we are seeing completely opposite realities?
You are, you know, 2020 was about looking at everything that's messed up. 2021 is about stepping up and deciding what's worth saving and what's not worth putting your energy into. How do you move ahead toward the truth and light that you are all seeking? Well, what's happening is you've always all had your own perspective, but it's just clearer now because you're coming from your own perspective and trying to fit it into living a life. And so it keeps bumping up against other people's perspectives. It's as though all of a sudden, none of you see the same thing because you're all looking through your own lens. And it's going to take some time for you to find the people who see the same things you do.
Mm-hmm.
People that you have been comfortable with for a long time may see things totally different. But that's because you have all spent the last year letting go of the beliefs and the values that are not yours, that have been, indoctrinated into you or beat into you or simply lovingly given to you when you were children and never cleared up. You're all starting to look at your own truth and define it from your own perspective. Does that make sense, what we're saying?
I feel it makes sense.
And it's very seldom that everyone agrees on everything. But usually within a group of friends, you're friends because you have some common interests or some common values. And as this last year has broken open the shell that we have been living in and released the actual essence of who we are, then there's been some amazing discoveries about what some of our friends believe or don't believe.
Mm-hmm.
There are very many of you who are wandering around going, I don't know what the heck to believe. And that means a lot of people bumping into each other. And when you don't know who you are or what you believe, that's a very scary place to be. So a lot of you are acting from fear at this point, trying to figure out what the heck happened in the last year and what do I really believe and how do I deal in this world. It's as though everything is turned upside down and you have to start all over from scratch. It's very tricky.
Mm-hmm.
The thing to
Yeah.
remember is it's perfectly all right for you to have your own truth, for you to have your own values, for you to stand in your own truth and embrace it. It's not perfectly all right for you to stand in your truth and demand that everybody else agree with you.
Yes.
And that's where the trouble comes in.
Mm-hmm. I feel like that's where some of our confusion is, between the difference between the idea of conformity and unity, because those seem to be in play, and what we think is unity is often us just dressing up conformity in a different way. So we think okay, we can live together in harmony so long as we all agree. But in
Yes,
unity,
that's exactly the opposite to
yes,
what you're moving into. You can live together in harmony as long as each of you is true to your own truth,
yes. And I
is true
can see
to
how that,
yourself. And you understand that everyone else has that right too.
yes,
Uh, ask yourself, who said everyone had to agree?
right.
You don't remember one of your commandments saying, and thou shalt not disagree with anybody. This whole life is a journey to discover who you are. You can't you can't do that if you're just following somebody else's words or somebody
Mm-hmm,
else's
mm-hmm,
direct.
mm-hmm,
And so it's about being called to go inside, see all the places where believing someone else's truth has given you pain, and assessing what you really stand for. What's your stake? Why are you here? To be a physical manifestation of love. And it starts with loving yourself. So many of you are out looking for someone that you can identify with and hang on to and get your answers from. There's no one truth.
mm-hmm.
Love is the only one truth. Pure love, not selfish love, not greedy love, unconditional love.
Mm-hmm.
That's what you're, striving for. It's so much easier if you look at yourself and you say, I am going to release all my judgments about what's good and what's bad, what I should do, what I shouldn't do. I'm going to live from my heart. I'm going to greet others as a fellow spiritual being and live my life loving the whole process.
Mm-hmm.
Make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So,
I feel it. I feel it does. So another thing I was wanting to discuss was we seem to have this old pattern where we wait for the external to change before we can change. So I need you to, like, if we're in a relationship, I need you to make a decision so that I can feel better. And it seems like we're doing this, or I feel like I'm seeing this on a more global scale now, where we're waiting for something. We're waiting for something to give us permission. Um, maybe it's the government or whomever. Tell me that I can be me.
well, you see, the key thing there is tell me.
Yeah.
We're waiting for someone to tell me what I should do.
Mm-hmm.
And governments and organizations and people are consistently and constantly uh, showing you that you need to get the word from them,
Right.
or you need to be directed, you need to be led, and that you are not capable of discovering who you are. It's as though what people are waiting for right now, they went through last year where they let go of a lot of what they believed about themselves. Now they want to know, who am I? Who am I in this new place? Well, here's the thing. You decide who you are. You get to be whoever you're supposed to be.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to decide what works, what doesn't work, what's positive, what isn't positive, and you move to the place of allowing everyone else to do that too. Now, if someone else's truth involves dropping a bomb on the United States or Canada, um, that's probably not going to sit well. You have to figure out what you want to do in those cases. But unless you're coming from your own truth, you won't know.
Right. Right. So when we're living in fear, that's when we are unable to make those choices.
Absolutely. When fear's involved, it's the fear's running it.
Yeah.
Any party that fear comes to, they take over.
Mm-hmm.
And fear is rampant. You know, you want to talk about different variants of the coronavirus. Look at the different variants of fear that are running around.
Right.
Fear if I don't wear a mask, fear if I do, fear if I get the vaccine, fear if I don't. Um, you know, uh, it's it's interesting to note. Um, the channel just realized the other day that um, she was talking about being in the the most vulnerable age group and medical group and all that. And her son pointed out to her that she has a sister who is 6 years younger than she is, who has the same health situations that she does, except she has 6 stents in her heart, where the channel has only 2. She has not had open heart surgery, um, and she just got COVID and didn't even go to the hospital.
Mm.
Stayed home and recovered in 3 or 4 days.
Right.
So you can't buy into the idea that, oh, if an elderly person gets this, it's the end. There's more to
Right.
it than that. And the fear debilitates people, you know? Fear drains your energy.
I can
And
see too that, sorry,
go ahead.
just on that note, with the fear within the collective. So sometimes we might just look at the individual holding the fear, but if I am part of a sub-collective that is holding a lot of fear toward a certain other sub-collective, so the younger looking at the older and holding this fear, is that not then affecting
Yes.
the likelihood for that other subgroup?
Yes. Think of think of prayer. Very few of you doubt that prayer works. Prayer works.
Mm-hmm.
You know, a common positive intention to pray for someone.
Right.
Um, the Channels family has multiple family stories of prayer working miracles. Fear is just the opposite. Prayer is a positive intention. Fear is blocking the positive intention. Do you see?
Yes.
So you need to look at fear being just as powerful in many ways as prayer is.
Yes. And I can see it also blocking the positive outcome.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay. That's powerful. Okay. um, so, okay, this next question is going to be likely just a sense of validation for anybody who is holding this curiosity, or this if they're doubting their own sense of what's going on. In terms of I mean, it appears that there are these globalists that are running some type of a show here, and that there seems to be agendas going on for fear mongering and that type of thing. From your perspective, can you speak on that in terms of what I kind of started this the last time we spoke, but if we could maybe talk about that, what intentions are playing out here or trying to be played out?
Um, a lot of
Okay.
different intentions. Um, you know, one person is spreading fear because he's afraid. Another person is spreading fear because he's trying to manipulate people and he wants to get control. The governments are, this is not, the channel is saying, oh, this is that you're just taking my, no, this is our view. 95% of the governments on this planet are incompetent boobs
Okay.
who don't have a clue as to what they're doing and whose intent is entirely selfish.
Okay. Not necessarily nefarious.
Not necessarily nefarious, but certainly not generous and loving.
Yes. Okay. That's reminding me of a few years ago when I had been working with this company that I was having, the two people that were running it, and I just kept thinking, what is going on here? And it seemed as though here was my conclusion, and I spoke with you about this more than once, that either there was such a high level of incompetence and there was a level of arrogance and not willing to accept help and all of that, or there was fraudulence. And you had said, well, what's going on is they've decided, they've done their research and they've decided that the screwdriver was the best tool to use to change a tire. And I thought that was such a great way to look at that, and to look at what's going on in the world from that perspective. It helps soften it for me because my heart opens and I feel more compassion in that sense.
Mm-hmm.
I think maybe we talked a little bit about the idea of compassion as well, holding compassion in these times for these
Absolutely.
these incompetent boobs.
It's absolutely, definitely, you have to look at the incompetent boobs and have compassion for them because they don't know what they're doing. They are totally caught up in the game they play of trying to do what's right, but it's about what's right for who.
Right.
You know, the problem with most politicians is that they can see how this, uh, well, we'll take Biden. This executive order that I'm going to write is a very positive step toward a very admirable goal. But they don't look at what other, just because that's what they thought they were going to do, they need to look at how that can go off the rails and become something else.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yes.
the channel, who is we specifically say the channel, not us, the channel has been tearing her hair out about the XL pipeline, which she was very much against initially. She's not particularly for it, but she doesn't see how stopping it in the middle of everything and everybody losing their jobs and everybody losing money and all of this is a positive thing. Now, the president is saying, well, down the road, it's going to be better. Yes, but what are you going to do with all of these people who have suddenly had their lives trashed?
Right.
You see?
Yes.
And so everyone is looking at their project and how it's going to serve everybody. They're
Yes.
not looking at the fallout.
Right.
They're not looking at the whole picture because they're all so focused on their own particular,
Yes.
it needs to be more far reaching. That's why the two political parties in the United States need to work together or get out of the arena,
Mm-hmm.
because one or the other, neither of them represents the whole country. So you're cutting off half of the country when they don't work together.
Yeah.
You see?
Yes. And it seems as though we have the opportunity to evolve in a way where we move beyond the idea of having only one political party in power at one time. Even if there's a minority and a majority, it doesn't seem to work. What could happen is that we have multiple parties that represent the views, the values, the perspectives of the whole, and that they work together.
Well,
Um,
it's the work together part,
yes. Yeah.
because everyone is focused on
Yeah.
their own little, they have a package that they want to get across the finish line, and
Right.
everybody is focused on their package, and they do not consider how this is going to affect that. And they need to work together and compromise, you know, compassion for
Yes. For the good
those
of the whole.
whose jobs are going to be totally wiped off the face of the earth, and compromise in how you're going to move forward. Maybe you don't get everything you want. Maybe you get half of what you want, or maybe it takes a little while longer. But
Right.
you have to look at the impact on everybody, and you can't
Mm-hmm.
do that if it's just one party. 50% of the country isn't represented then.
Yeah. I get that.
Yes.
I get that. That's making me think of because I've been working with a company for the last year and a bit during all of this, um, and I'm in a leadership position, and I've been looking at it as a small scale model of the world, and I've been noticing how these old models, it's become so blazingly obvious that they just don't work, although it's not obvious to everyone. So there are certain, it's that lack of inclusivity of the whole, and the I also can understand that not everybody has the ability to be able to weave all those pieces together. And in reference to the pipeline example of just stopping something cold like that and not having a transition plan.
Yep.
I, for one, am somebody who is all for new energy, absolutely. But I understand that point, and to just rip that Band-Aid off with zero warning creates more detriment than good.
Well, and
at this
the
point anyways.
biggest thing is it creates an attitude,
Right.
it's how you do it is very important. It's created doubt. There's no trust now. There's,
Hmm.
you know,
Yes.
it's antagonized the other side. Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah. Okay. Okay. um, so with all the new energies, how much is shifting? And things are moving around. It feels a lot. One of the phrases that we've coined over the last few years is ascension symptoms. So I know that a lot of people are experiencing these energies in different ways. Some through their health, some just in physical ways that may not be um, cause for high concern. Um, but is there anything from your perspective that you can share on that?
It's tricky because, yes, the energies shifting and changing are going to impact people in different ways. There's also a tendency to um, expect that if you're ascending, you're going to have symptoms. You know,
Okay. Okay.
so there are going to be people walking around with all kinds of ascension symptoms that have nothing to do with ascension and more
Okay.
to do with their need to ascend.
Gotcha.
And
Like
it's
a quick label.
mhm,
Okay.
yes.
Okay. I hear that. Thank you. Um, Maybe just going back a little bit to the our old pattern of waiting for the external to change first. So in terms of us as individuals holding our vibration high, aligning ourselves with our truth and living in that as best, as best we can. I feel like, and I'll just speak for myself because I know that sometimes I have this idea that everybody everybody else needs to get into that place with themselves so that then I can um, really, really live, my truth.
Yeah, yeah.
And with that, sometimes will come frustration and impatience and like,
And
which I know I'm pointing in the wrong direction, but
um, it's all it's sort of like picking through a box. You've been given a gift, and there's all this packing material in around it, and you're picking through that, trying to find the thing that has been gifted to you, and you don't know what it looks like, but you know it's not styrofoam. So you know, um, there's most of the great um, ahas come when they're least expected.
mm,
You know, you're just walking along on a ordinary day and you see something and it clicks and you go, "Oh, I get it now." And it changes your whole life. There's a tremendous amount of work that goes into that. You don't always recognize it, that you have been getting little help along the way. Little by little, you've been, you know, sitting and waiting for the external is a total waste of time.
mhm,
You have to create internally what you want to have externally first. You have to create for yourself what it is you want for yourself. You have to create peace of mind before you can have peace of mind. You have to give yourself that gift. You have to say, I am worthy of this. This is a part of who I am. I deserve it. I'm not perfect, but I still have value. So many of you devalue yourselves. There's a saying somewhere, uh, stop when you are totally blocked and ask yourself, what have I forgotten? And the answer is, you have forgotten that you are God.
Mm.
Nothing is impossible to you. Nothing. And more things are going to be possible in this coming year than you can imagine. The technology that you create is also a metaphor for the internal change that you are making.
Right.
It is, where are you putting your priorities in your technology? What's important? That you have 7 million more toys that can bark or cry or sing? Or that you have 7 million more homes for the homeless?
Right.
It's all about what's important to you and what your priorities are. There are people building barking toys. There are people building homes for the needy. Where do you want to put your energy?
Mm-hmm.
Where do you want to put your money? You see?
I do. Yeah. Yeah.
So, questions?
So, okay, I think, well, of the ones that I had pre-chosen, those are complete, but there's just one that is coming up, just regarding the censorship
Mm-hmm.
that we're experiencing with information. So it seems as though there's two information streams. One is the internet, one is the mainstream. And yet the information that is being shared, and there's, what I'm most referring to is people who work in certain fields day in, day out for decades, and they're just sharing their perspectives, and that is being censored and removed. I'm guessing that the short answer to why that's happening is fear and control. But is there anything else that might be helpful?
It's fear and control, but it's also a challenge to all of you to see that, to
Mm-hmm.
recognize it, and to counteract it.
Mm-hmm.
Is
Right.
that how you want your civilization to, with a few people controlling what the news is to everybody? um, Nothing is as it's, um, you can't believe anything you read anymore. It used to be you can't believe
Mm-hmm.
everything you see in the paper. Now it's more you can't believe anything you see in the paper.
Anything. Yeah.
And it puts you in a position of having to look for the truth if you really want to find it. There are those of you who will continue to just read the daily paper or watch one of the networks and that's what your reality will be.
Yeah.
There are people who want their reality to be more than that, and it's a challenge because they can be labeled, you know, all kinds of things.
Yeah.
To challenge something that is the general, this is the official news for the day, and you challenge that, you are going to get pushback,
Mm-hmm.
because the people who are just unwilling to do their own homework are going to accept this, and they don't want anyone telling them it's not good enough.
Mm-hmm.
You see,
Mm-hmm.
part of the turmoil that's going on now is finding your truth. What is truth? Where can you get the truth? People are starting to look for it, and that's nice,
Mm-hmm.
rather than just reading the daily paper and saying this is the way the world is.
Yeah. Yeah. It seems like it's a worthy hunt.
It's involving everyone. Everyone's getting involved in it.
Yeah.
You know, there are those who, as we said, just read the paper, that's it, or watch whatever network they watch, and that's it. But there is more involvement in seeking the truth than ever. You can see that. That should encourage you all.
Yeah.
People really are looking for the truth. They're not necessarily being polite about it. They're not necessarily um, being even honest about it. But you can see when someone is going, crazy on Twitter or on Facebook about what they believe, and you can see it when it gets to the point where they're nuts.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and you can
Yeah.
you can say, oh, am I getting that bad? What am I looking at? Where do I find my truth? People are taking more or some people are taking more responsibility for what they believe. Others are totally just taking it like daily pablum.
Yeah. Yeah.
But those who are taking responsibility for the information they're getting and seeking out places that they can validate this or check this out, they're getting more involved in their government, and that is a positive thing.
Yes.
And the
Yes.
fact that there's less and less respect or trust in the government is not a bad thing.
It's not a bad thing. Yes. The
The,
the the
the
creative
hope
power in all of
is that
this
it
is
will encourage and support new um, values and new standards in
right.
government.
Right.
Yes.
That all makes sense. Thank you.
So, anything else?
Thank you. This is feeling complete for today. All right.
We covered a lot of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Any questions on what she had, or anything that?
No, no, it was I'll have to replay, but there was a couple of good nuggets I felt that were that last piece there. I could really see a fuller vision of the immense creative power in what's happening right now, and um,
And
the
how
more
important it
oppressive,
is.
and how important it is, and how what we were talking about at the beginning of not being able to see the bigger picture. And sorry, I can't remember if that was on this recording or prior, but because the reality is, the truth is, we cannot see the full unfolding of this. So to lean into trusting in the process, and that piece on understanding, like, of course there's purpose in everything, and those of us who are seeking truth, and we are seeking different streams of information, and so that we can make up our mind, it's actually, I can feel that, how powerful that is.
That's extremely
And we're
powerful.
raising that bar so high.
Well, and you can look at how for so long there were 3 networks, 4 networks, um, you know, the daily newspaper, everybody got their truth from the same place. And and it's just freeing us to, when she says find your truth, it really means you have to go find it. You have
Yeah.
to check everything out. See, I think that's the thing. You have to listen to what you hear or what you see and check it out. Does this resonate as truth to me? And if it doesn't, what does?
Right. And like that, and that's the process. Not seeking out, not going on the hunt of, holding everybody responsible, but that's the process. That's the creative process in this. And it's such an about face from how we've been living, because I think that's how we continually repeat patterns in our history, is because we go about things the same way. And this is so radically different. To, instead of looking out there, looking in here and shifting it from there is
Well, it's shifting from outside there's somebody who knows everything to in here there's somebody who knows everything and can't be, if you're coming from a loving place, you can't be fooled by that. You can tell what's true and what isn't,
mhm,
you know?
yeah, yeah.
Tina, you're
Eh,
fabulous.
you are fabulous too, Linda. Thank you.
I think we are.
I think so. I think we're on a good track here.
I think we're
I think
doing
we're going to be okay. I think
okay.
we're gonna be better than okay. All
Send
right.
me,
Well, thank you. I will for sure. And thank you very much. I'm just going to click end on our recording here. But thank you for your time.
oh, I enjoyed every bit of it.
Me too. Okay. We will talk soon.
Soon.
Oops. Hang on.